students, welcome to online video classes of History and Civics and the last part of the chapter, the Vedic period. So dear students, today in our video class, we will cover education system in Vedic period, food, dress and amusement, religious beliefs and economic life. Now we will start with education life in Vedic period. Now education system of education during Vedic period was totally different from today's education system. The student life in Vedic period was began with Upnanya ceremony. This was performed for 3 days and the students go to these chosen teachers called as Acharya. The place of learning was called Gurukul. After the Upnayana ceremony, the pupils was called Brahmachari. The home of the teacher or Acharya was center of learning, which was situated in natural surrounding. The age limit of Upnayana was 8 years, 11 years and 12 years respectively for Brahmins, Kshatriya and Vaishya. But the learning process was almost dominated by the Brahmins. At the time past, the other two castes, Kshatriya and Vaishya, entered to the receive education. But Shudra caste people were denied to study the holy scripture. Curriculum during Vedic system of education. The curriculum during Vedic period was dominated by the teaching of the Vedas and Vedic literature, spiritual and moral lessons. The other subjects like philosophy, astrology, logic, language, grammar were teaching during the Vedic period. Also physical education was included in curriculum. Students were learned archery, wrestling, hunting, dancing, etc. Some professional and technical education like astronomy, Chikitsya, Ayurveda, Siksha, Arthashastra were the student learned in the curriculum. Weaknesses of the Vedic education: rigidity in instruction, strict discipline, eminence and more importance to religion, lack of freedom of thought, neglect of education of masses, neglect of women education, hatred for new religion and neglect of worldly life. Food, dress and amusement. Now we will study about food. The principal diet of Vedic Aryan comprised of barley flour, rice, cereals, milks, clarified butter, curd and other preparations of the milk and meat of different types. Rig Veda frequently mentioned yava, barley, dhanya, rice. In later Samhita Vedic texts, rice virahi is mentioned along with various spices of yava. Beans, mudga, sesame, tilla and many other grains such as wheat, godhuma and wild rice, nirvana, are mentioned quite often. There is no doubt that vegetables and fruits formed a large portion of the diet. However, it cannot be denied flatly that Vedic Indians were also meat eaters, but meat eating was prohibited to men who were under some oath and vow. Now dress. The Aryan wore dresses made from cotton wool and deer skin. The garments consisted of 3 parts: an undergarment called nivi, a garment called vasa or paridhan, and a mantle known as adhivasa, atka, dropi. The garments were embroidered with gold. Both men and women wore gold ornaments. The men and women used earring, necklace, And women used necklace, earring, bangles, anklets. These ornaments were sometimes studded with precious stones. Both women and men oiled and combed their hair, which were plaited and braided. The men kept beard and mustache, but sometimes also shaved them. Now, games and amusement. Rigvedic people spend their leisure time in various amusements like gambling, war dancing, chariot racing, hunting, boxing, dancing, and music. Women displayed their skill in dancing and music. Three types of musical instruments like percussions, string, and wind were used by stringers. The religious life of Aryans was simple and plain. They worshipped many forces of nature such as dawn, the sun, the moon, the sky, the dawn, thunder, the wind and the air. Vedic hymns were composed in the praise of God of nature. Rigveda mentions the 33 gods as goddesses were worshipped by the Aryans. Three divinities were placed under three categories, namely the terrestrial gods as such as Prithvi, Agni, Brihaspati, Prayer and Soma. The atmospheric gods such as Indra, Rudra, Maruts, Vayu and Prajnaya. Celestial gods like Dayus, the sky, Varuna, belt of heaven, Ushas, dawn, Ashwins and Surya, Mitra, Savitri and Vishnu, all associated with the most glorious phenomena of nature with the sun. Such as we are getting information from the Vedic literature also about the religious process of Vedic period, such as from Mahabharata and Ramayana. Now, economic life of Vedic period can be divided in some parts, such as firstly we will start with the village. In the Vedic age, the people lived in villages. The houses were made of wood and bamboo. They had thatched roof and clay floors. The hymns of Rigveda referred to the Pura. It seems the Puras were fortified places and served as places of refuge during danger of invasion. There was absence of word Nagara, city. In the hymns of Rigveda, Gramini was the chief of village and he looked after the affairs of the village, both civil and military. There was another officer known as Vajrapati who led Kulupas or head of the families to battle. Agriculture. In reference to agriculture, from Rigveda, we can study that agriculture was the principal occupation of the people. They plowed the field by means of pair of oxen. Rigveda even mentions that 24 oxen were attached to a plow share at the same time to plow the land. The plowed land was known as Urvara or Kshetra. Water was supplied into the fields by means of irrigation canal. Use of manure was known to them. Barley, wheat were mainly cultivated. Cotton, oil, seeds were also grown. Rice was perhaps not extensively cultivated. Agriculture was main source of their income. Apart from agriculture, cattle breeding were another means of living. There are prayers in the Vedas goes to cattle. Cows were held in a great respect. Cows were symbol of wealth, prosperity of the Aryans. Sometimes cows was the medium of exchange. The Aryans had also domesticated animals such as horse, draught ox, dog, goat, sheep, buffalo and donkey. Trade and occupation. Beside agriculture and animal husbandry, Arvans had also occupations. Weaving was the most important occupation. We learned about the weavers of wool and cotton together with the workers in subsidiary industries of dyeing and embroidery. The carpenters were built houses, chariots, wagons and supplies household utensils and furnitures. Then there were blacksmiths who supplied various necessaries of life from fine needles and razor to the sickles, plows, shearers, spears and swords. The goldsmiths were made ornaments like rings, earrings, bangles, necklaces, bands, etc. The leather workers made bowstrings, casks for holding liquor, and the physicians cured the diseases. The priests performed sacrifices and composed hymns and taught them to dispel. Trade. There were trade and maritime activity. Sometimes traders made journey to distant lands for larger profits in trade. There was probably commercial intercourse with Babylon and other countries in Western Asia. The principal media of trade was barter. Cow was used as a unit of value. Gradually, pieces of gold called meshaka were used as mean of exchange. Trade and commerce was regulated and managed by a group of people called padani. Now, dear students, in your book, wherever the chapter is going to be finished, at one side there is a difference between later Vedic period and early Vedic period that you have to study by your own self. So dear students, we have covered these topics are in our video class today. Education, food, dress and amusement, religious belief, economic life. In economic life we have studied about trade and occupation of the Vedic period. Now in our next video class we will start the chapter the Jainism and Buddhism. Till then, have a nice day and thank you.